Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the country's biggest stars and some of my favourite people. And we've got one for you today. Michaela Strachan, how are you?
Oh, I'm pretty good. How are you?
Do you know, I'm really good. I saw you just last week on tour with this Walking with Dinosaurs thing. And my God, firstly, the show is incredible. But you were amazing. I mean, what a feat to be able to take on 2 hours of live theatre and remember it all yourself. You should be getting an Olivier for this.
I love you. You're great. Yeah, it is quite something to be on stage for 2 hours and be the only human that you can see, that the people can see, you know, performing with huge animatronic life-size dinosaurs.
Yeah.
It was very different to anything I've done before.
It's incredible. And of course, the scale of these dinosaurs, it's hard to explain. They are ridiculous, aren't they?
And they look so realistic, don't they? So, yeah, I mean, it was an amazing show. As you said, it was a big script, and we just finished the tour for the UK. We come back at Christmas, and now the tour's gone to Europe.
How long did it take you to learn that script?
A long time, actually. It was a long time. And in fact, I was learning it walking the dog one week. So every day I'd learn 4 pages of it. And we'd walk up the mountain. I live in Cape Town, so we'd walk up the mountain with the dog, and then my partner tested me on the 4 pages coming down.
Just incredible. And the reason we're talking about this as well is Extinction. And of course, the dinosaurs are back on stage, but some animals might not be around forever, which is the reason you're talking to us today.
Well, exactly right. No, I've been working with Old Moot Cider for the last couple of years on a Kiwi campaign, Save the Kiwis, in New Zealand. And the reason we've been doing that is because Old Moot Cider originated in New Zealand, and it has a kiwi on its label. And the kiwi is the national bird of New Zealand. And so they decided to look at other countries that had national animals to see how many of those countries and how many of the national animals were on the threatened or critical or endangered list. And it turns out that 46 countries with national animals are threatened in some way with extinction, which is quite shocking. And obviously the kiwi is one of them. But if we look at the list, it's quite interesting. So China, for instance, what do you think the national animal of China is? It's quite an easy one.
Well, the panda.
The panda, exactly. The giant panda. It's vulnerable. Loss of habitat, poaching, low birth rate are all the different reasons. But then you get other countries with animals you've never even heard of. One that I found particularly interesting was Mexico, and their national animal is the vaquita. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right because I've never heard of it. But it's a porpoise, and they reckon there's less than 12 of them left. And their numbers have been decimated by the bycatch in gillnet fishing. And apparently the Mexican government have spent a lot of money trying to stop the decline of this animal. But clearly they haven't succeeded. They reckon there are 12 of them left. But then I go back to the kiwi, and that's where I feel very positive, because the kiwi numbers are down to about 50,000. They've dropped 99%, which is a massive decline. But what they're doing to save the kiwi is working. So the reason the kiwis' numbers have declined so dramatically is because of predators. Now, the kiwi is a flightless bird, and before man came to New Zealand, it didn't really have any great predators. And then man came to New Zealand, brought with, man and woman, I must say, brought with them possums, stoats, rats, cats and dogs, and they have decimated the population. So now New Zealand is trying to become predator-free by 2050. And the campaign that I've been doing with Old Moot Cider to save the kiwi has been looking in particular at predator-free islands. And on those predator-free islands in New Zealand, the success rate and the survival rate of kiwis has risen dramatically. So, you know, it's heartening to think that there's an animal that's a national icon. You know, New Zealanders are called kiwis. The numbers have been decimated, but something is being done and it's working. So I think those are the stories that we really have to celebrate.
Have you always cared about animals? It seems like I said to you before, as long as I've been watching TV, there you've been championing the cause and making people like me realise that there are more animals around the world than cats and dogs. And I know that might sound silly, but at a time we hear that children are going in supermarkets and can't recognise an orange from an apple or a banana, we really need to go back to basics, don't we? Were you always passionate?
Bad? Are they really that bad?
This is what the Daily Mail tell us.
Do you know, I put my faith in the next generation. And, of course, there are a lot of kids that couldn't couldn't care less, and all they care about is Fortnite and playing on their iPads or their Xboxes or whatever. And there are other kids that really care. And I've noticed a real shift. And you'll always get part of the population that doesn't care. But fortunately, you get a lot of people that care very deeply. And certainly my stepkids, who are all in their 20s, care very deeply and are doing something to make a difference. And I know they've come from, I'm their stepmom, so I've had a lot of influence. My partner is also into environmental television. So, they come from a good background. But I think it's really sad that we damn children so much because, they're the ones we have to put our hope in. And some of them are amazing. I've met the most amazing kids. But going back to your original question, my passion has grown with the programs that I've done. And when I was little, I was obsessed with dancing, and I wanted to be a dancer, and I wanted to be in musical theatre. And I had an empathy towards wildlife, but I didn't have a knowledge or a passion at the time. So my knowledge and my passion has grown with the programs that I've done. And that's why I never say I'm an expert, because I don't come from a science background. I come from an enthusiast background. And so, yes, it's really, really grown as I've got older.
Will we ever get you back? I mean, you live so far away now and you come back for projects. I presume you'll be back for Autumnwatch and things like that. I mean, is Cape Town your home now? Are you there forever?
Do you know, I look at the world as quite a small place. I mean, I have to because I live the other side. But I do. And, I've all throughout my adult life, I filmed all over the world. And so when I was doing Really Wild Show, although the UK was my base, I was always off filming somewhere. And so, actually, funny enough, you say coming back for Autumnwatch. This Autumnwatch, we're going to New England, and we're sort of breaking out of the mould. Yeah, wow. We're looking at American wildlife in the autumn, and particularly the fall. So we just thought we'd have a change. But, I never say never to anything these days. I mean, I just never know where my life takes me and where I'm going to end up. I couldn't have written my own life story the way it's gone. And I don't think I'll be able to do it so in the future either. I take opportunities where I can and go where the dice rolls. I was going to say where the roll dice is, but that's not the right word, is it? Where the dice roll.
And I hope that you play the Barry Manilow song, of course, Weekend in New England, as you open Autumnwatch. It will be perfect, wouldn't it?
Which song is that?
Well, don't you remember? Da, da, New England, dee, 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 dee. I only saw him on Saturday night in Leeds. It was marvellous. Yes. You can sing along if you know it.
Yeah, I didn't recognise it from your version.
No, I'll stick to doing this. And how are you? I mean, you've had your health battles over the years, and I know you try and eat incredibly well and all that stuff. Are you doing well right now?
Yes, of course I am. I mean, you say I've had health battles. I was diagnosed with breast cancer 4 years ago. But, I'm certainly not alone with being diagnosed with cancer.
I know.
So many people are these days. I'm one of the lucky ones, and I found it very early, and I dealt with it. But it's weird, because when people say you've had health problems, I don't consider it as a health problem, because I never really felt ill. And that's the weird thing when you get diagnosed with cancer is, you feel absolutely fine, but someone tells you that you have cancerous cells in your body that need to come out. And so you have an operation that then you have to recover from, but you recover from the operation rather than recovering from a health issue or illness. And I'm completely through it now.
You're always so optimistic, aren't you? That's the thing about you. You're an optimist. It's nothing to do with your eyes. And this is what we love about you on TV. Your enthusiasm's still there. You still want to be there. And again, what you did during this Dinosaurs tour, Walking with Dinosaurs, was just incredible. I was there with a 4-year-old who was captivated. And that story told wrong would be incredibly boring, wouldn't it? Because let's face it, there's a lot of story to get in.
Well, it's funny because when we were doing the rehearsal, they kept saying to me, "You're being a bit theatrical." You could see that you were a trained dancer, and you're sort of, you're being a bit dancerish. And then, funny enough, they got used to the way I was doing it because in Walking with Dinosaurs, I played the part of Huxley, and there are always 2 people that play that part because some shows there's 3 shows a day. So the other guy does the 11 o'clock show, and they've always had actors. But they kind of got used to the way that I was doing it and accepted it as just a different way in the end.
Well, I loved it very, very much. It's always nice to see you and talk to you. Honestly, it was captivating and a beautiful show. And you'll be back on tour doing that this year, won't you, actually? This Christmas, you're coming back again.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
You can find out more about this campaign to save the kiwi, because it's very, very important. And we're going to go out. Shall we sing some Barry Manilow together? You must know this one, Michaela.
Go
Come
on, then. I feel like throwing my pants now.
Oh, well, don't throw them at me, love. You'll get an injury. I'll sue you. Michaela Strachan, thank you so much for your time.